Some things are not simply seen, they are felt. Some things are not worn just to complete a look. They become part of a presence, part of a mood, part of the way a woman enters a room before she even says a word. Jewelry has always been more than decoration. It is memory shaped into form, emotion refined into detail, elegance made visible. A single glimmer of light on polished metal can change the feeling of an entire moment. A delicate reflection on a stone can turn something simple into something unforgettable. And the beauty of fine jewelry is that it never needs to be loud. Its power lives in how effortlessly it speaks. Every piece carries its own language, a language of softness, of confidence, of grace, of quiet luxury. And when each piece is chosen with care, it does more than complete an outfit. It transforms the way beauty is experienced. This is not about one piece alone. This is about the journey of adornment, the way one detail leads to another, the way elegance builds layer by layer until it feels complete. It begins close to the face, with earrings. There is something timeless about earrings. They hold the light where expression begins. They frame the face. They move with every turn of the head, every soft gesture, every passing moment. And because they sit so close to the eyes, they do something very few details can do. They make beauty feel immediate. A pair of earrings can be delicate, almost weightless, like a whisper of shine against the skin, or they can be striking, sculpted to catch attention in a single glance. They can soften the face, sharpen presence, or add that final touch of polish that makes everything look intentional. They do not ask for attention, they attract it naturally. There's elegance in that kind of restraint, in the understanding that true luxury does not need to force itself into the room. It simply belongs there. And then comes the pendant, resting closer to the heart, more intimate, more personal. A pendant is never just a beautiful object on a chain. It feels like a secret the world is allowed to notice, a subtle focal point that lives near emotion, near breath, near memory. It moves gently with the body. It catches the light in silence. And somehow, even in its simplicity, it can hold extraordinary meaning. Some pendants feel modern and clean. Some feel romantic. Some feel precious because of the stone they carry. Others feel precious because of the emotion they awaken. That is the beauty of a pendant. It is never too much, but it is never forgotten. It lingers in the way it rests at the neckline, in the way it draws the eye, in the way it makes the person wearing it just a little more luminous. Then the wrist begins to shine, and with it comes the bracelet. A bracelet lives in movement. It is one of the most graceful forms of jewelry because it comes alive with gesture. A hand reaching forward, a sleeve softly falling back, fingers brushing against fabric, a cup lifted, a wave, a touch. With every motion, the bracelet becomes part of the rhythm of the woman wearing it. It is not static beauty, it is living beauty. There is something incredibly refined about jewelry that reveals itself in motion. A slim bracelet can suggest effortless sophistication. A stone-set design can create a trail of light with every turn of the wrist. A polished metal piece can feel strong, clean, and endlessly chic. And because the wrist is such a graceful part of the body, the right bracelet enhances it without effort. It adds finish, balance, a sense that every detail has been considered. That is what fine jewelry does at its best. It creates harmony. Not noise, harmony. And then, of course, there is the ring, perhaps the most iconic of all jewelry pieces, the one that feels both deeply personal and immediately visible.
the one that can be admired by others and cherished by the one who wears it, all at the same time. A ring is never just an accessory. It is presence wrapped in a circle, a small piece with extraordinary power. It appears in every gesture, every touch, every movement of the hand. It is there in daily life, in celebration, in memory, in ritual. And because of that, it becomes part of identity. A delicate ring can feel soft and romantic. A bold ring can feel fearless. A stone-centered design can feel luxurious and expressive. A clean, polished band can feel minimal, timeless, and confident. A layered stack can tell a more modern story, rich with personality and intention. But no matter the style, the magic of a ring is always the same. It holds attention without asking for it. It carries emotion without explaining it. It feels beautiful, not only because it is seen, but because it is felt again and again, every single day.
Then the neckline begins to take shape, and a necklace changes everything. There is a reason necklaces have always carried a kind of quiet majesty. They define the upper frame of the body with such elegance that the entire silhouette feels elevated. They create structure. They bring flow. They guide the eye. A necklace can be subtle, just enough to bring a soft glow to the collarbone, or it can be a statement, instantly becoming the center of the look. It can feel regal, minimal, contemporary, or deeply feminine. And in every form, it brings a sense of completeness. That is the power of a well-designed necklace. It does not overwhelm. It organizes beauty. It draws the face, the neckline, the fabric, and the jewelry into one refined visual story. And suddenly, what was lovely becomes luxurious. What was simple becomes styled. What was already beautiful becomes unforgettable. And then there are the quieter details, the ones that reveal themselves slowly, like an anklet. There is something incredibly charming about an anklet because it is never the first thing expected, yet it leaves a lasting impression. It brings delicacy to movement, a hint of sparkle where elegance is least announced and most beautifully discovered. An anklet feels soft, feminine, and effortlessly graceful. It adds something playful but still refined. It turns a step into a gesture, a walk into a moment. This is the kind of jewelry chosen by someone who understands detail deeply, someone who knows that style is not only about what is seen first, but about what is remembered later. And that is where true taste begins, in the details that do not need permission to matter. But the story of jewelry is never only about single pieces. Its real artistry begins when pieces start to speak to one another. A ring beside a bracelet, a pendant beneath a necklace, earrings catching the same light as the stone on a hand. Textures, tones, and reflections working together with balance and intention. This is where adornment becomes composition, where styling becomes art. Layering is not about wearing more, it is about understanding proportion, understanding pause, understanding which piece should lead and which piece should whisper. A woman with one beautifully chosen ring looks elegant. A woman whose entire jewelry styling feels harmonized looks unforgettable. Because harmony creates presence, and presence is what people remember. When multiple pieces are brought together thoughtfully, something remarkable happens. The jewelry no longer feels separate from the woman. It begins to feel like an extension of her. The shine looks natural on her. The structure belongs to her. The softness becomes hers. The confidence becomes visible. And suddenly, this is no longer about earrings, pendants, bracelets, rings, necklaces, or anklets as individual objects. It becomes about a complete expression of beauty. But none of that matters without craftsmanship. Luxury does not begin in sparkle, it begins in precision, in the careful setting of a stone, in the smoothness of a finished edge, in the balance of weight, in the security of a clasp, in the fluidity of a chain, in the comfort of a band, in the polish that feels as beautiful to the touch as it looks to the eye. These are the details that separate something attractive from something exceptional. Because true luxury must hold up under closeness. It must remain beautiful under attention. It must reward the second look, the third look, the touch, the wear, the memory. A fine piece of jewelry should never only impress from a distance, it should become even more compelling the closer you get. That is the difference between decoration and design, between trend and timelessness, between something that shines for a moment and something that stays beautiful for years. And perhaps that is why jewelry holds such emotional power, because it exists at the perfect meeting point of beauty and memory. It belongs to celebrations, to milestones, to gifts, to self-love, to promises, to evenings that matter, to ordinary days that deserve to feel extraordinary. A bracelet can become part of a daily ritual. A pendant can hold emotional significance no one else fully sees. A ring can become a signature. A necklace can define an entire evening. A pair of earrings can make a woman feel instantly more radiant. An anklet can become the hidden final detail she chooses only for herself. And that is what makes jewelry timeless. Not only its beauty, but its ability to live inside real moments. Moments of anticipation, moments of joy, moments of stillness before an event, moments of dressing with care, moments of receiving, moments of remembering. There is also something unforgettable about the experience of opening a jewelry box, the quiet pause before the reveal, the softness of the packaging, the first glimpse of light reflecting against the interior, that breath held for 1 second longer than usual, that feeling that what is inside is not ordinary. Because luxury is not only the piece itself, it is the experience built around it, the wrapping, the reveal, the touch, the way the piece is lifted for the first time, the way it catches the light for the first time, the way the person receiving it instinctively smiles. That smile matters. It's the moment when admiration turns into emotional connection, when beauty becomes personal, when ownership begins.
And once a piece becomes personal, it becomes unforgettable. A woman does not wear fine jewelry only to be seen. She wears it to feel complete in her own way, to feel refined, to feel expressive, to feel elevated without needing to explain why. Fine jewelry has the power to do that, not by changing who she is, but by illuminating what was already there, the softness, the confidence, the grace, the strength, the mystery, the light. That is why each piece matters, because each piece reveals something different. Earrings bring focus to expression. A pendant brings intimacy. A bracelet brings movement. A ring brings symbolism. A necklace brings structure. An anklet brings subtle charm. And together they create a world of beauty that feels complete. A complete collection is not simply a variety of products. It is a language of elegance. One piece may speak softly. Another may speak boldly. Another may linger as a quiet detail only the observant will notice. But together they tell one story. A story of craftsmanship, of refinement, of femininity, of luxury that does not need to exaggerate itself, of beauty that feels effortless because it has been designed with care. This is the kind of jewelry that belongs in real life and unforgettable moments. Jewelry that can move from day to evening, from celebration to memory feeling. Jewelry that does not fade when trends change because it was never created only for a trend. It was created for presence, for emotion, for timeless beauty.
And when all of it comes together, the shine, the precision, the softness, the confidence, the detail, the result is not simply a styled look, it is a feeling that stays long after the light shifts, long after the mirror moment passes, long after the room has moved on. Because true jewelry does not disappear when the moment ends. It remains, in memory, in photographs, in gestures, in the way a woman remembers how she felt when she wore it. Beautiful, certain, refined, seen. So choose the pieces that do more than sparkle. Choose the ones that speak. Choose the ones that feel like part of your story. Choose the ones that carry elegance with ease and luxury with grace. Because some things are not merely worn, they are remembered. Some things are not simply beautiful, they become part of how beauty is felt. And when jewelry is crafted with meaning, styled with intention, and worn with confidence, it becomes more than an accessory. It becomes presence. It becomes memory. It becomes a signature. Every earring, every pendant, every bracelet, every ring, every necklace, every anklet, every carefully chosen detail, each one beautiful on its own, each one powerful together. Because true luxury is never just about what you wear, it is about what remains after the moment passes. And the finest pieces never leave with the moment. They stay with you.